And start talking. Okay, Amy, it is recording.
All right. Well, Neil and I just want to thank you guys for coming tonight. We're pretty excited for everybody to hear Neil's story also. And if you're here tonight, you're one of our very special people in our lives, and we are so grateful that you took time to come. And Sharon, I'm going to ask, do you want me to talk more now, or do you want me to just stop there? Should have asked that
Yeah, no. I would love for y'all to share your stories.
earlier. Okay.
Tell your people about your
Okay.
own experience. Would be
Perfect.
awesome.
And then Neil, I'll start and then I'll point to you and then you'll be the
Okay.
comedic relief and it'll be great. All right. Well, my story started a long time ago. I always start with my mom. She unfortunately suffered several autoimmune conditions and developed lymphoma and passed away when my almost 17-year-old was 2 months old. And so that definitely marked my story and my walk for a little while with Jesus. And fast forward, we had 4 kids under the age of 7 at that time. And I was having joint pain, plantar fasciitis, gut issues. My hair was falling out like crazy. I won't make a comment about my brother. Uh, And I was exhausted and I was worried because our kids were sick constantly. We were at the pharmacist every 2 weeks, it felt like, and they would just say which one is it this time. And I knew that there was something that we should be doing, but I didn't know what to do. I had tried to clean up my diet, and you should do that. But I had continued to fall back into other lifestyle patterns. And I was praying for a solution. And at the same time, my amazing husband was a youth pastor, but we were just a youth pastor. Now I think he's got like 3 different positions. But and our salary had not grown with the size of our family. And so I desperately wanted to stay home. And one day my dad called, and well, I was talking to my dad and he said, "Don't do anything. I'm going to call you back tonight." And when he called, he said, "I found something. It's helped me tremendously, and I think it's the answer for you and the kids' health and Neil." And he said, "I think it's also the answer for you guys financially." And so we prayed about it, and I did a lot of research because that's the kind of person that I am. Not everybody likes research, but I do. And I began to have hope, and we got started. And nutrition is slow, gradual change over time. But it's changed that is from the cellular level out. And so over that first 4 months, my joint pain went away, my plantar fasciitis went away. I can wear fun shoes, and I have a more sustained energy than at that time I'd had in decades. I didn't want to go to bed when Neil came home from work. I was excited still about life. And and we began to see changes in our kids, and we're so grateful for that. That's the reason that I got started, was because I was worried about them and I had no idea what it was going to do for me. And so I can still remember when Neil walked into the kitchen and said, "When are we going to get me started?" But I'll let him talk about that. But we a few years ago, many of you know that we stepped into brick and mortar retail store, and we unfortunately had issues with that and had to close that. And during that time, I did something that I never thought I would do. I forgot to take my Juice Plus. I'm always on my family and my brother about taking his Juice Plus, but I forgot. And I didn't just forget for a couple of days, it became a pattern. And I felt the same way that I did before. My plantar fasciitis came back, my gut issues came back, my joint pain. I was exhausted. And I just was, as soon as all of that started happening again, I said, "No more. I will not do this again." And so I made a new commitment, and I do not miss my Juice Plus. And guess what? I got to see my story not once, but twice. And we are so grateful that God has allowed us to find this, that He brought it to us. That's how we feel, and that He lets us share it with other people. And it's with the Maggie told me to look at y'all. I'm looking at them. It's the Family Healthy Starts that provided for our family. Any kid age 4 through 26 birthday can get their Juice Plus for free with an adult. And we are so grateful for that. And we are just so thankful. I often think, what if we had not started? Where would I be at? I know what it's like to watch my mom and her health journey, and I just don't know where we would be right now if we had said no. And we're so grateful. So Neil, I will point it back over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Amy. I come live from uh I just she asked me they asked me to share our health journey, health story, and I just feel led to before I do that, just say the most important thing is your spiritual health and that God created us and designed us a certain way and he put us on this earth and you can be the healthiest, strongest person in the world, but if your heart doesn't belong to Jesus, then you're sick. So I want to say that first. But I also believe that he entrusts us with things, and that's a big thing he's been teaching me. And one of those things he entrusts you with is your health, your body. And Amy, from we've been married almost 21 years, and for a lot of that, she wanted me to be healthy. I kind of was kicking and screaming, and really sort of had resolved that I was just going to be the jolly fat guy that just, things were going to be what they were. I was in youth ministry at the time and I was worn out. And, you go on all these camps and these trips and these late night things and you just feel, and I just sort of thought, well, that's just how it's going to be. And at the same time, like she said, we stayed sick. We were always somebody had something. Um, the pharmacist, I tell that story all the time. The pharmacist at the Target here in Kingsport knew us when we walked up. They're like, "Which one is it this time?" And there was just a day where I don't know. I finally said, "All right, I'll give this a shot." And it really wasn't a great shot. It was starting out the summer doing ministry, and I kind of said, "Okay, so you're telling me that this Juice Plus stuff has fruits and vegetables that I can get into my body, and then I've got that in me, and no matter what else I eat the rest of the day, I can still get my McDonald's or my pizza this summer at camp, but at least I'll get the good stuff in me." It's really not the best plan, but it was sort of the bar was pretty low for me. Uh, but that's where I started, and just over that next couple of weeks and months, doing the stuff I did with youth ministry, all the trips and things, I felt better. I felt energy that I thought was gone. I thought those days were done, and I felt better. I, I I started to lose some weight that I didn't think I was ever going to be able to lose. Um, then you realize, hey, you know what? I don't remember the last time I was taking like Zyrtec every day for allergy stuff, and you go, wait, I don't remember the last time I did that. And then you go, I don't remember the last time I went to the doctor for the sinus infection that it seems like I have every month. And then yeah, we were at the Target at the pharmacy, walked by there, and literally the conversation happened. The lady said, I thought you guys had moved because we haven't seen you in so long. And you just go, oh yeah. And when you realize that we're healthier and we feel better. So I've seen it. We've been on this journey for about 9 years, right? And I have my ups and downs too. I'll confess to you. Sometimes when I'm not doing well, it doesn't make sense at all. But I say, "Oh, I don't want to waste the good stuff, so I don't use it." How foolish is that? I can tell when my body is fueled well. I do. Going back to what God entrusted me with, he designed us to put good fuel in our bodies, and I want to be useful for him and his kingdom. I want to be around for my family and be able to do things with them and just do life and more abundantly. That I know plenty of people in ministry who it was buckets of fried chicken, and you just sort of, they never preached on the gluttony part. Um, but I see it, and there's, the fruits there. And so I want to share that. I want people to know. And when you know something's good, you know something works, you want people that you love to have that too. And so we've seen that. We believe in it. If we were to never really have anything to do with the company per se, we would still find a way to do this because there's such a value to us. I love that every morning, as busy and as crazy as life is, that I can capsules or we've got this. I'm sure Sharon's going to talk about this powder that I drink every morning on the way to work now, and I've got that stuff that's in my body and is going to fuel me. And then it is true, you are what you eat. And so the more you put good stuff in your body, the more you actually crave good stuff. And so yeah, we all have our ups and downs. It's not like it heals you from ever getting anything, but the saying is, I feel like we've got good ammunition to fight the battle we're all fighting. And so is that does that work? Is that Amy? I say it exactly like you wrote
That is
it.
oh, they are so cute, are they not? I love getting together with people that know and love the Hartleys. So I love so many things that both of y'all said. And I will tell you that it's stewardship is what it is. It
Yeah.
really is stewardship. And I also think that the body of Christ is very, very sick. And,
Yep.
you know, we are involved in a in our church in a lot of different ways and all the time. What are the most things that people give you as prayer requests? It's about people's health. And I was in my son-in-law and daughter's Sunday school class, and they're like mid-30s, and it broke my heart because almost all the prayer requests were about cancer and a lot of I mean, very serious health conditions, and it wasn't for their parents that we were praying for; it was for them. And so this kind of gets into what we're going to be talking about. And if y'all watch the news, you know that the health of our country is not good right now. I heard just last week that 76% of us, and that includes children and adults, have some form of chronic degenerative disease. And 50 years ago, it was 3%. We also had Dr. David Katz speak at one of our conferences, and he said this is the first generation of children to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents, and that has never been the case in the history of our country. And he also said children are more harmed by poor nutrition than alcohol, drugs, and tobacco combined. So I want people of every age and stage of life to be healthy and vibrant. Um, and I really believe that God made us, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual beings. And when one aspect of our health is not good, it impacts the other. I mean, I know it for myself that if you don't, feel well physically, it impacts every aspect of your health. And so I just think that the topic is very, very important. And there's lots of different things that go into it. What we're primarily talking about tonight is going to be food, but there are other lifestyle habits that are super important. We need adequate sleep. We really need 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night because our body repairs and is restored during our sleep. And the hours before midnight count better, particularly between 10 and midnight. Those are like golden hours to be asleep for different reasons. And so early to bed, early to rise really is a thing. We also need living water, lots of water, lots and lots of water. Half of our body weight in ounces of water every single day. And a lot of people don't have the energy, have headaches simply because they're dehydrated. So if you don't like water, you've got to find a way to add a little flavor to it or something, but we all need it. And so start doing that tomorrow. I won't say tonight because then you'll be up all night. You won't be happy with me. And then movement. We really do need to move. And 7,000 steps now, we found out that recently that 7,000 steps lowers your all-cause mortality by 70%. That is huge. Now we're going to really focus in on food because what we are eating, most of it is what you call ultra processed foods. And then even the good food, the fruits and vegetables that we get has 50 to 80% less nutrition than it used to have like 50 years ago when we were picking it out of our grandmother's gardens. And so the good news is that 75% of chronic degenerative disease is preventable with good nutrition, and I think that is really good news. Knowledge is power when you apply it. not just when you know it. So we need 7 to 13 servings of fresh raw fruits and vegetables every single day. Optimally, produce that is locally grown, close to home, not transported, several hundred miles across the country because it loses its nutrient density the longer it's off the vine. And so you want it to be completely vine ripened and then pick it and you eat it as much as you can. But 90% of us fail to do that. And so what that does is y'all probably have seen an apple turn brown when you leave it open to air. If you squeeze lemon juice on it, it keeps it fresh and it avoids that oxidation, which is what you see on the left. And that is exactly what fruits and vegetables do for your cell. They just actually protect your cells. And we all have oxidative stress going on just from normal metabolism. And then there are other things that increase our oxidative stress if we're overweight, if we smoke, if we're inactive, if we take prescription medicines, if we're flying a lot. All of those things increase your oxidative stress. So the good news is the fruits and vegetables shield your cells and protect your cells. Most of us know that we're not getting the 7 to 13 servings of fresh raw fruits and vegetables every day. And most of Americans turn to vitamins. And I'm just here to tell you there is no science that proves that multivitamins make a difference in your health. So, as a nurse, I'm a nurse practitioner by background, and I used to see vitamins go out the same way I saw them go in. And seriously, they just are not absorbed. Whereas an apple, our body knows what to do with that. And it's all of those, thousands of phytonutrients working together in synergy the way God made it, um, that it's absorbed so well. And for example, 5 milligrams of vitamin C in an apple is more effective than 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C in a vitamin pill. So I love looking at this at the end of the day. This is what is in Juice Plus, the simple solution that our family found 24 years ago. And I'm so grateful for that. We actually have 4 generations on Juice Plus from newborn all the way up to 92 years old and everybody in between, I'm thankful to say. And back when Juice Plus was shared with me, it came through a trusted source. It was actually a friend from church who also happened to be our eye doctor who shared Juice Plus with me. And basically he said two things. It's food. So if you don't remember anything else tonight, remember it's food. And secondly, it's got science behind it. Back then, there were 8 published studies. Now there's over 50, which is amazing. But he showed me this picture, and honestly, y'all, some of these things we had never even heard of. Like that was before elderberries were popular. I didn't even know what that was. We never ate a bilberry. And back then, the kale was a decoration on the salad bar. So a lot of this we didn't eat every day. We tended to eat the same things over and over again, like apples, oranges, bananas, apple, and then carrots, broccoli, carrots, broccoli. We just didn't have the variety. So we're at the end of the day. So I want you to stop and think, how many fresh raw fruits and vegetables did you have today so far? And you don't have to say it out loud. But I'm really glad that I had my Juice Plus today because we were on the go a lot today, and I did not get anywhere near the low end. I didn't get anywhere near 7 today. It was not a good day, but I had my Juice Plus, thankfully. And Neil mentioned the superfood. So it is the same capsules that have been around for 30 years and with the same science, but it's a new delivery system. So now you can get the fruits, vegetables, and berries in 3 different ways. You can swallow capsules. You can take these sticks of powder, the superfood powder, pour it into water, shake it up, put lots of crushed ice in there. It is so good. And you've got the same science showing that it does all those amazing things that we're going to talk about briefly in just a minute. So there's really 3 things that make Juice Plus unique. I mentioned already you've heard several times it's food, not a multivitamin. It's got a nutrition label on it, same as if you were to buy a bag of frozen broccoli at the grocery store. It's vegan, non-GMO. Um, I it, I say it's the cleanest fruit and vegetables and berries that we eat every single day. Better than organic. They actually pick it at the peak of vine ripeness. They take it and they put it into a slurry, a big, it's not like a juicer because you actually put the peel, the seeds, the leaves, everything goes in that slurry because some of the peels on certain fruits are actually more nutritious than the fruit itself. So you get that whole food. And then secondly, it's safe. It's third party tested. Every Juice Plus product has NSF certification on it. That proves that everything that's on the label is in the product, and there's nothing in the product that's not on the label. No contaminants, no herbicides, pesticides. It is safe. And y'all, that is something that is super important. The supplement industry is very poorly regulated, and you do not want to take anything that is not third party tested because Consumer Lab did a big study on like 20 different supplements, um, and they found that only 7 of the 20 actually was what the label said it was. And in some of those, there were additional ingredients that were not on the label, and in other of those, what was on the label wasn't even in um, that particular supplement. So you've got to be very, very careful with how you invest your money into supplements. So, and then thirdly, it's the most researched nutritional product in the world, and we're very proud of that. We are published in some of the very best scientific medical journals like the Journal of American College of Cardiology, Journal of Pediatrics, and many, many more. So we're going to do a very high level, quick overview of the science. And if you are a science nerd like I am and like Amy was, we can give you a link. You can read as much as you want about the science, but the most important thing is number one, it's bioavailable. And what that means is that when you take Juice Plus, it's absorbed and all that good nutrition gets into the bloodstream. Levels of vitamin C, E, beta carotene, polyphenols, all of that goes up in the bloodstream when you take your Juice Plus. And then amazing things begin to happen in your body. So we know that it decreases inflammation and it decreases oxidative stress. Those two things are at the root of all chronic degenerative disease. So if you can reduce your inflammation and reduce your oxidative stress, you're really moving in a good way toward prevention of all those chronic degenerative things that none of us want to have. We also know that it improves the immune function. There's 4 different immune studies um, that were done. And we know that when you take Juice Plus, your immune system is stronger. So people tend to get sick less often. When they do, it's shorter and milder. And then the other thing is it balances the immune system. So people with autoimmune disease tend to get better. And Amy mentioned that. In our family, after being on Juice Plus for 8 months, 3 of the 5 of us came off allergies, and my son came off asthma medicine. All of that is autoimmune disease. And so it's just amazing how our body, when it gets the nutrition it needs, it knows how to heal. And so one of the studies that was done in the last probably 5 years is the cognitive study, which is near and dear to me. Both of my parents had cognitive decline in their late 80s. And that's just, none of us want that. And it's just a sad, sad thing. And we don't want our loved ones to have that. And I would say that the cognitive study that was done is amazing, showing the difference Juice Plus made in our processing, in our recall, in our executive functioning. It's just amazing. And that particular study, if you are interested in that, we can pass that along to you. You can look at that more in detail. It also supports healthy skin. My daughter actually came off prescription acne medicine on Juice Plus. And the skin study shows that you get 39% greater circulation to the skin, microcirculation. So that means more oxygen, more nutrients getting to your skin. So I like to tell women, beauty is more of an inside job. It's much more of what we put into our body and our hydration. Our skin is reflected in that much more than lotions and potions that we spend a lot of money on sometimes, putting on top of our skin. And so um, I love the fact that my dentist also recommends Juice Plus, and we see a big difference in gum health. People stop having as much bleeding of the gums, and dental health improves. Cardiovascular health, that's cardiovascular disease and also brain disease are now kind of neck and neck as being the top killers in our country. And we've got multiple studies on cardiovascular health showing that Juice Plus improves and protects cardiovascular health. It actually improves the blood pressure. It reduces LDL cholesterol and total cholesterol. And so it's amazing for cardiovascular health. And then also the other big one is gut health. So, our gut is our second brain. 90% of our serotonin is made in the gut. And so people with anxiety and depression, a lot of times there's a gut health issue there. Um, our immune function, the biggest part of our immune function is also in our gut. And so when our gut improves, and Amy mentioned that, like in her story, her gut improving, and we see that all the time, all the time. And then it increases your omega-3 index. So the omega is new within the last probably 8 years, and it's a broad spectrum plant-based omega, which I love. We don't go to the fish, which is the middleman. The fish actually get their omegas from the algae. We go straight to the algae. And instead of just being omega-3, it's omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. And all of those have important roles in maintaining good health. We know that about 70% of Americans are depleted in omega-3s, and you need 3 to 4 servings of, wild salmon, and most of us aren't doing that. And there is an 30% increase in all-cause mortality when you have a low omega index. And also, the nutrients from the fruits, vegetables, and berries are actually absorbed better when you're on the omegas too, which is pretty exciting. Lots of healthcare providers recommend Juice Plus. And then the fourth thing that I think really sets our company apart is we have a special program for children. We love the next generation. We love investing and pouring into the next generation. Amy and Neil do that in a lot of ways. And I love that we get to do that for young people's health. Y'all, I'm telling you, people are getting sicker and sicker, younger and younger. Our 30-year-old daughter has 3 people within the last 6 months diagnosed with very aggressive cancer. I was with another young woman who's 35, and she said within the last year, she's had 5 friends diagnosed with triple positive breast cancer. And it all starts when they're little, y'all. And so being able to get this kind of nutrition into your little people, your grandchildren, your children, y'all, it's just huge. And I love our company's heart for children. Um, Jay Martin wanted to make it affordable for families way back when. And so he came up with this Healthy Starts for Family. And it's amazing what happens to the health of children. And you do see very tangible things. 60% are missing fewer days of school. 66% are going to the doctor less often. 56% are taking fewer over-the-counter prescription medicine. That was certainly our family. My husband's a financial guy. He was a banker, and he said, this is not only great for our health, this is really great for our finances because we're not at the doctor so much. And we also aren't paying for some of those prescriptions that we were on, which was very, very exciting. So it really is amazing. But then you look at too, they also start consuming less fast food and soft drinks. And they also start drinking more water. and they start exercising more. It's really, I tell people, becoming a part of this community is the very best health club you could ever join. And I mean that. I mean, I've belonged to health clubs and they're great, but this is much better. And then we've got great shakes. So all of that I mentioned before was micronutrition. That's the micronutrition of all those plants. This is macronutrition, and it has calories to it, protein, carbohydrates, 7 grams of fiber in our shakes, the complete. I'm telling you, y'all, this is delicious, nutritious, full of superfoods that I don't normally eat, and it's fabulous. The Perform is for athletes. It's very high in protein, has a lot of great other ingredients for recovery and repair. And then I think somebody already mentioned the Luminate. It is the new kid on the block. Came out about a year ago. Our new family favorite. Although I will say the fruits, vegetables, berries, and omega is foundational. That is foundational for everybody. The shakes, the Luminate are add-on products. But this one is a really, really good. And it is really good also mixed with the superfood in about 8 to 10 ounces of water, and you shake it up, put that crushed ice in there, and it's like your afternoon happy drink. It gives you more focus, energy to finish your day. It also has a calming effect, and it really lifts your mood. And people are just loving it. So Juice Plus is affordable. This is one of my favorite parts because, right now budgets are tight, and we all need to be careful, I think, with how we are spending. And of course, I think that's we want to be good stewards regardless. But you can get the fruit, vegetables, and berries for less than $3 a day, and you cannot get 2 pieces of fruit now at the grocery store for that. You can also get the fruits, vegetables, and berries for less than $4 a day. And I will tell you, a lot of us are not buying these coffees that look like this anymore. We quit doing that. But I will say this, my husband said, "Where are you putting this in the budget? Because we're not adding it to the budget." And we literally looked for things we were buying that were not building our health, and we redirected our spending. And so that's what I always encourage people to do. And then you may find that your health expenses improve. Juice Plus is a gift, we believe, because it is like giving the gift of hope based on science when we share it. And we could be here for a long time talking about a lot of health transformations that we have seen. But we won't do that. We just are thankful that you came, and we appreciate the time that you've given us. And so, really, there's 3 things you can do um, if you want to invest in Juice Plus. Number one, you can become a customer, and Amy will take excellent care of you. Number two, and you can add a child to get it free on top of that. So it's a 2-for-1 special. Number two, if you want to get your whole family healthy, if it's you and a wife or you and your husband on the quad, and you add eliminate or you add a complete one time, then automatically you get $100 thank you. You get $100 sales profit back, meaning you get it wholesale. And then the next time it ships, you also get an additional 5% off. So that is really a great way to lock into a good price. That is what I mean. I knew I wanted to do that from the very beginning because I love to get the best price I can get on everything that we purchase. And I knew that I wanted my whole family on this. But then also, I was like this third option. I really thought about a lot of other people that could be blessed to hear this and that could benefit from Juice Plus and that were in hard places with their health. And so I really wanted to share this with people even before ours arrived, honestly, y'all. Based on the science and what I learned, I began to share with people, right as we began to take it. And I've never stopped ever since. And that can, sharing it can help you cover the cost of your products. You can earn a significant part-time income, 500 to 1,000 a month, or you can build it into what you want it to be. It can be a full-time income with benefits. So I love that about what we offer. And with that, I am going to turn off the recording and then we'll let y'all unmute and we'll